Today is Monday and markets are not trading because it is President's Day. But let me tell you, there is no shortage of Tesla stock breaking news, including a new bombshell revelation from Elon Musk himself. Tesla Economics said on X, whether Tesla reaches a point in time of delivering 10 to 20 million Teslas on an annual basis isn't a matter of if, it's a matter of when. Elon Musk responds and says it will be very hard to climb to 10x output. Doable, but it is an immense amount of work. Just for a little bit of context, Toyota sells the most vehicles globally every year. And in 2023, Toyota sold 11.23 million vehicles. So this would be almost double the amount of vehicles that Toyota sold last year. Which, just to put this into comparison, just how many vehicles 11.23 million is, GM in 2023 only sold 2.6 million vehicles. Toyota is really a best-selling brand globally, not just in Japan or not just in the US. Now, I think long-term, the value in Tesla stock is the AI endeavors, FSD, which will ultimately become a robotaxi network, as well as humanoid or just general robotics. But still, let's put some numbers on what 20 million vehicles sold per year could look like for Tesla stock. And let's assume 20 million vehicles, they're probably going to be sold around $25,000 a piece, maybe even $20,000 a piece in the future. So let's assume a $30,000 average selling price. That would also include the Cybertruck, which is going to be more than that, the Model X, the Model S, which I don't think are going away anytime soon, that are also substantially higher than $30,000 and likely always will be. But by then, 20 million vehicles a year, a lot of those vehicles, a majority of those vehicles are going to be your Model 2 or just your lower priced variant. So based on that, Tesla could bring in about $600 billion of revenue based on just the auto business alone. Let's assume a 20% net margin attributable to shareholders. That would be $120 billion of net profit. Divide this by 3.3 billion shares that are currently outstanding. That would be an EPS of $36.36 per share for an entire year. If we assign about a 60 times multiple on Tesla, which is a little bit higher than today's multiple of around 45, which by then, if Tesla's selling 20 million vehicles a year, I'm sure they have robo-taxis, I'm sure they have other things, but just considering a 60 times multiple, which is very low and conservative as far as Tesla historically, this is the lowest value Tesla has traded at ever. Tesla's always traded at a higher valuation than today. That would put Tesla stock at $2,181. Again, just with the auto business, selling 20 million cars a year. And I'm sure by then, Tesla would be paying some fat dividends, which if you're buying Tesla stock now, that would be some big returns just off of dividends. Now, just for shits and giggles, doing some arbitrary math here, if Adam Jonas with Morgan Stanley assigns roughly 20% of Tesla's value to the auto business itself, attributing the rest of the value to FSD, the potential of the robotaxi network, Optimus, Dojo, software as a service, the whole shebang, well, you could theoretically sit here and say, well, you could times this by 4. Long term in the future, you're looking at Tesla stock almost $9,000 per share. Now, let's be honest, $9,000 per share could come at some point down the line, but it would be like 10, 15, 20 years from now. But nonetheless, in my personal opinion, if Toyota can scale to 11 million vehicles sold a year, I think it's safe to say Tesla could probably double that, just given the difference between the products that Toyota and Tesla have. I mean, Tesla is far superior technologically speaking, as far as how they manufacture their vehicles. I think it should be a doable endeavor given enough time. And that, my friends, is why I buy as many shares of Tesla stock as I possibly can. And I would actually welcome a dip or a further crash in Tesla stock so I could do just that and buy more shares at cheaper prices. Unfortunately, I don't think that is going to happen in this upcoming week, and we'll go over my price prediction in the next video. But on with your Tesla stock breaking news today. Sawyer Merritt writes, in early 2023, Tesla Megapack delivery wait times were about 2 years. Now, likely as a result of Tesla's Lathrop Megafactory ramping up, wait times are 8 months. Tesla's new Shanghai Megapack factory is expected to finish construction in Q3 of this year and will eventually double the company's Megapack production capability to 80 gigawatt hours once fully ramped. The Lathrop and Shanghai Megafactories will collectively generate over $25 billion in revenue annually. About Megapack. Enables low-cost, high-density, commercial, and utility projects at large scale. It ships ready to install with fully integrated battery modules, inverters, and thermal system. On that note, construction has started on a $330 million Tesla Megapack battery system at a former coal plant in Queensland, Australia. The state government says the big battery will have the ability to power more than 2/3 of IPS switch for 2 hours each night. And it seems like the Cybertruck is one of the most popular vehicles at the Toronto Auto Show. And I mean, look at the crowd that is gathered around this thing. A lot of these individuals, well, maybe they had some knowledge of the Tesla brand, but a lot of people, even Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, yeah, hopefully everyone knows who that is if you're watching this video. He didn't even know the Cybertruck was coming out. This was like 2 to 3 months ago on Joe Rogan's podcast, but nonetheless, it just shows you if someone like that doesn't know, then a lot of your average folks out there have no idea about the Cybertruck. Now, people have asked whether or not a halo effect will come based on the Cybertruck. I think there's a couple things you need to know. The real halo effect comes when people actually see this thing in person. So these auto shows are great, but you're going to get a lot more people seeing these things in person when they're driving next to them on the street. You have to get somewhat ramped, in my opinion, before that halo effect really can start to take hold, which is going to take some time. In the case of the Cybertruck, since manufacturing is so complicated, and Tesla has probably produced about 2,000 Cybertrucks so far, so a decent amount of them are starting to get out on the roads. I think you really need to see like 40 or 50,000 of these start to hit the roads before you can see a noticeable halo effect start. Tesla Scope reports full self-driving beta V12 2.1 is now going out to Tesla employees and special groups for the first time, and a lot of people are pointing out that V12 seems to be getting more updates at a faster rate of speed than other softwares, and hopefully that means we're seeing some really good progress. The refreshed Tesla Model 3 has won the 2024 Drive Car of the Year, the best urban electric vehicle under $100,000. Quote, "It's now much more comfortable thanks to softer suspension and seats, plus it's now complete with a nicer feeling interior." On that note, I'm having an internal conflict, personally, on whether or not I should wait for the Cybertruck or just go out and get the refreshed Model 3. Let me know down below in the comment section. Refreshed Model 3 or Cybertruck? I mean, both of those are fantastic products from what I hear and from what I've seen. It's a really tough call to make. Tesla's Giga Berlin proposed expansion divides residents, but sees youth support. Remember, Tesla's been trying to add to Giga Berlin for a while now. It's the residents around Giga Berlin that don't want Tesla to expand the factory, which, let's be honest, there's not that many people that live around Giga Berlin. It's kind of a not remote place. There's only a couple thousand residents that live in the vicinity of this factory that have the rights to actually vote on whether or not Tesla should be allowed to expand the Giga Berlin plant. But nonetheless, Tesla and this Giga Berlin plant is the largest taxpayer in this whole district. So inevitably, I'm sure Tesla will be able to expand this plant as much as they want. But right now, it's a little bit of a hurdle. The Neo ET9 EV has a feature where it can literally shake the snow off of itself. Now, I don't know what kind of snow they're looking at here, but in Michigan, I mean, you get a decent amount of snow when it actually snows. I don't see that as making a whole lot of sense personally. Still kind of cool, but I don't think that practically will make sense, given it's probably going to take a decent amount of energy anyways to get the snow off by doing this, let alone wear on your suspension. A new report is in, and over 10,000 of the cars used by Uber and Lyft in New York City are now electric. That's 12% of the total fleet of the two ride-hailing companies. This means that the drive transition in both fleets is happening faster than expected. To be honest, I didn't realize there's 120,000 Uber and Lyft drivers in New York City. That sounds egregious to me personally, but I mean, that's what the numbers here suggest. And being an investor in Tesla, looking forward to the robotaxi network in the future, I always keep reverting back to, well, that's good for Tesla. The market's huge there. And I think that's an interesting way to look at things, because Tesla's going to launch the robotaxi network, in my opinion, broadly, at least when they start, but I'm sure it'll actually start in certain cities, maybe San Francisco, and then maybe New York. Heavily mapped areas, heavily trained on areas will be, essentially allowed to operate robotaxis first. New York, if they have that many drivers of Uber and Lyft, even just getting into a New York City or maybe a Miami, San Francisco, could bring in substantial numbers for Tesla. IF Metals Tesla's Sweden strike leads to 20 workers losing their jobs. If IF Metal convinced Hydro Extrusions to participate in its fight against Tesla through a sympathy strike, now 20 Hydro Extrusions employees have lost their jobs. Tesla's global inventory numbers show a little bit higher of an uptick in the Model Y, a slight downtick in the Model X and Model S inventories, and really just a plateau around 1,300 inventories for the Model 3. We can also see Model X Google Trends data is sitting at about 9, which the Model X sits at about 9 to 10 most of the time. It's very consistent around that range. The Cybertruck has recently went from 26 to 23, so a slight deceleration there. The Model 3 has went from 37 to 34, and the Model Y has actually seen the acceleration from 36 to 37. And the Model 3 and the Y are going back and forth these days. One day the Model 3 is seeing more activity, the next day the Model Y is seeing more activity. Tesla continues to run about 2,000 different ads globally via Google. A lot of these ads are now short form content, like on not Reels, obviously. I haven't seen any TikTok Reels for Tesla, but some ads on TikTok and a lot of ads on Google Shorts. We are also seeing quite a bit of advertising in Japan as well. That's something Elon talked about on the earnings call, that for a country, for an economy that is so developed in vehicles, there's not a lot of penetration or knowledge about Teslas in Japan. Option activity in Tesla stock on Friday, 71% positive from hedge funds and institutions. You've seen 1,218 orders, totaling $343.4 million. Over the past week, you have seen 5,433 orders, totaling $4.65 billion, with a positive order value of 49%. So over the entirety of last week, you were neutral for option activity from hedge funds and institutions, but on Friday, very bullishly skewed with a 71% positive order value. As I have previously mentioned, short sellers have been taking a little bit of a beating recently as Tesla stock has started to rally. The dollar amount that was sold short on January 26th was about 14.8 billion. Roughly 15 billion or so. Short sellers have lost well over $3 billion over the last couple of weeks, and the losses are probably going to continue. Over this upcoming week, there's not going to be a whole lot of big data, but you will get the FOMC minutes on Wednesday and some smaller data like ISM services, S&P global manufacturing PMIs, lots of PMI data, and Fed speakers on Thursday. But by that time, we're going to be reacting to NVIDIA earnings, which NVIDIA earnings are going to be the big story for this upcoming week and could have big effects on our markets. Currently, option markets are pricing in a $200+ billion market cap move, higher or lower for NVIDIA. That works out to about 11%. That is a lot of pricing in for Nvidia, and whether Nvidia falls a little bit or a lot can have big impacts on what happens to Tesla stock and to the broader markets. But starting off tomorrow, you will get some action with earnings, including Walmart and Home Depot. Now, I want to make this very clear, and again, we'll talk about this more in depth in the next video as well, but Walmart and Home Depot are seen as kind of economically sensitive bellwether companies. Walmart last earnings, if you guys remember, the CEO said there's going to be deflation in certain categories and consumers are pulling back. Now, if Walmart continues to suggest that, I don't think stocks are priced for the possibility of a recession, let alone actually going into recession. The broad markets, if you look at the S&P 500 and you had no knowledge of anything else, you would say, wow, that's a really strong economy. People must be feeling great out there and spending money like crazy. And I don't think that's exactly true. Now, given we're not, pricing in the possibility of a recession, that does mean any bad data that we get in the future over the next coming weeks and months can be seen as even worse news. And let's be honest, if you shop at Walmart, you don't stop shopping at Walmart to go somewhere else. I mean, Walmart has your price match guarantee. Walmart has pretty much the lowest prices you're going to find. So if consumers that are shopping at Walmart are spending less, not shopping as often, that is going to be bad news for our markets. Something I'm specifically going to pay attention to. A company like Walmart can be a very good leading indicator to what direction the economy is going in. So I think the markets will react to it. If they don't, I'll keep you guys informed because whatever they say will be huge. Home Depot, to the same respects, is true as to what I applied to Walmart, but Home Depot is more like home improvement. It's more of luxury projects than necessities like Walmart is. But the markets, they do pay attention to Home Depot's earnings as a kind of judge on how the consumer is doing. Our latest AI investor sentiment survey shows bullish investors dropped from 49% to 42.2% last week. Neutral investors climbed from 28.4% to 31.1%, and bearish investors climbed from 22.6% to 26.8%. 10-year treasury yields also continued higher on Friday, up about 4 basis points, with the 10-year treasury yield currently at 4.281%. If 10-year treasuries continue to rise, that's going to be very bad news for our markets, albeit considering we did see a rise in 10-year treasury yields on Friday, Tesla stock was marginally in the red, which I would say overall Tesla is showing a lot of strength. And this is actually surprising. I guess it's not a weekend, so it's not I guess it's not that surprising. Let me rephrase that. Usually on the weekends, you see the StockTwits sentiment, message volume, and participation ratio gauges fall. But yeah, today's technically Monday, but stocks are still not trading today. So nonetheless, one day ago, sentiment around Tesla stock was neutral at 53. Today, it is extremely bullish at 75. Message volume one day ago was 63. Right now, it is 57, which is still categorized as high, but getting to a more normal level. The participation ratio is almost at high, sitting at 54, which is better than not. You want to see the participation ratio as high as possible. That means more people are talking about Tesla. So let me know what you think about all of this information down below in the comment section. If you guys would like to come join the trading community, get ready for Nvidia earnings, trade Nvidia earnings with us, as well as many other stocks that report earnings throughout this week. We'll break it down in the next video, but if you guys want to come talk to us in the meantime in the trading community, check out that link down below in the description of this video. Also, check out the X account. If you have not followed it over there, it is Michael Tyler. I share a lot of things over there that are hedge fund institutional opinions, a lot of charts, my take on Tesla, Tesla news, all kinds of different things. A well-rounded account overall, I would say, for anyone. I mean, anyone could benefit from the information over there. And that is free 99 to go ahead and give that a follow. So check it out if you guys have not. Most importantly, enjoy the rest of your day, and I will see you in the next one.